I'm in year 3 of mental health nursing. When we be out in placement, we kind of can cover anywhere from West Cork and Kerry, really. So I've been on placement in Tralee, Killarney, Castleisland, Kinmare. I've been in Killarney a few times and Tralee a few times, covering from mental health, general, intellectual disability. It's amazing because it's great to see how the teams can come together to help one person. It's a multidisciplinary team. So for us to get a bit of an insight into all the different disciplines, it's amazing to see how it can all come together for one person. It's incredible. Personally think that it's a day to be proud to be a woman. Like, I actually think that you don't realize, and it's not even just people that we might see like on social media or people that are famous. It could just be like your mother or your best friend or a lecturer, your grandmother even. And I think because I suppose we're so busy at the moment with everything, just I suppose with people, with work, with college, that we don't actually stand back and kind of appreciate the people that are around us. And I think it is the one day of the year that we can actually, step back and think of all those women who've had an impact in our lives. Like, for me, definitely, I would say that my mom has had a massive impact on my life, and she's my best friend. And it's the one day of the year that I kind of really step back and I kind of say, wow, I actually appreciate this woman so much. And I think, just for example, for anyone, especially at the moment, it's like for lockdown, there's a lot of women who are having jobs and they might be doing online Zoom and they're doing online classes with their children. And I think that just to be able to do that and kind of still keep level-headed and be positive about things, it's just amazing. So I suppose with me going into the nursing, so before I even began, my grandmother was unwell and she spent a lot of time in the hospital. She was kind of 5 or 6 weeks before she passed. And I used to work, I was working full-time in the Rose House in Tralee, and I would work there until maybe 6 or 7 o'clock, and then I'd go up to the hospital, and this was for the full 6 weeks. And it was my first time actually being in a hospital and seeing how nurses work, and just like, I suppose, being a family member who was there and watching a loved one go through all this, but also being impacted so much by the nurses and the amazing job that they had and how comfortable they made us feel going through such a hard time. And I remember that one of the last things that my grandmother said to me was, and I had never ever spoken to her about nursing or anything, because I suppose I would have kind of, been maybe assisting her with the feed or anything like that. That she turned around and she told me, she said, "You'd make a fabulous nurse." When I heard that, then I said, all right. A week later, after she passed, the first thing I did was filled out a form and went to do a pre-nursing course. So I got that. And then the aim then was to go off and do a degree. So that's how I began my nursing. But then I suppose another person who would have inspired me as well on my journey would have been Maria Walsh. So she was the Rose of Tralee in 2014. And I remember the day that she was on stage just before she was crowned Rose of Tralee, and she had a tattoo that had a meaning to her, cousins that she had lost. And I actually have a tattoo as well that has massive meaning to me. And I remember, so first of all, she was gay and she looked different to everyone else. And she was absolutely, I remember she gave me shivers down my spine when she stood on stage and she spoke. And it just made me realize, because I'll speak to you about it soon, but I actually had a bit of a journey as well with mental health, and it's the reason where I am now. But she just made me realize that, wow, I've got strengths as well. And I just said, I'm just going to put them to use, and I'm doing mental health nursing. So definitely two people that inspired me to where I am now. So I suppose when I was in primary school, I love school, always. I actually have always loved school, and I'd be a type of person, I would put 110% into everything, especially work, college work, anything from when I was in school down to the smallest thing, to an art class. I would have to draw and color inside the lines, I would give it everything. But I did struggle big time with school. I just wasn't coming out with, I suppose, I would have failed a lot of exams or little maths tests or anything like that. And then this continued. I had to actually have extra classes in primary school. And then when I was in secondary school, it was the exact same situation. And then I would have had a few, I was actually bullied in secondary school. So that would have been hard on top of everything else. But it was just around the time of my leaving cert as well. So I wouldn't have come out with the leaving cert I wanted, but I passed, and that was the only thing that I could think of at the time. So again, I've done a lot of PLC courses and things like that, which are amazing. But I did I did 2 level 5s and a level 6, and then I did a night course in childcare, because I kind of would have had a background of that from school. I would have been mad into babysitting and things. So that's an area I wanted to go down. And when I got into early childhood care and education in the IT, and I did a year of it, and I actually remember I failed one of my exams, and the lecturer and I will still never forget this woman, but she called me. I didn't appeal my mark or anything. I kind of knew that I didn't understand what I was doing while I was doing my assignment, and she called me and she said, I actually can't read this assignment. And my mom came in with me, and my mom looked at it, and my mom said, I actually can't read it either. So I looked at it, but it was normal to me. So she said, I think you should be tested for dyslexia. So I did, and I had pretty severe dyslexia. So from there on, then I didn't go any forward with the early childhood care and education, and I kind of stepped back a bit and kind of tried to get everything, like all my ducks in a row, kind of, and decide, okay, where am I going? And that's when everything happened, then kind of where I went from there into the nursing. But it was probably, and that is the reason I have everything happens for a reason on my neck, in a tattoo, small little tattoo on my neck. But if that hadn't happened, I have no idea right where I would be now. It was just, but it definitely, because I suppose I would be that person. And even now, up to now in college now, like oh my God, I'm definitely that one person that puts a hand up for all the questions, and I suppose it's great, because now that I suppose I have a reason for why I am finding it hard, and that it's not me, it makes me want to work harder. But I suppose I'm very interested in the practical work, and I suppose that's why I love the nursing, because it's not all books, and it is a lot of assignments and that, but there are areas now that I'm interested in, and I can kind of look at an experience where I was on placement and relate my assignment to that, and I find it easier. But definitely that was one of the biggest challenges, but it's never held me back. I have had really, really good results since I began my nursing, from the PLC course right up to third year, and hopefully for the next year after that. But it's great, because as well as I'm not afraid to say I need help in this area, and I would have a very good kind of relationship with all my lecturers in the college, and they're fantastic, because now that I know that, okay, it's a weakness, but I've strengthened so many other areas, especially when it comes to nursing, that I do ask for their help. And it might be just, I might just get a question, and I might just need clarification on kind of the main part of this, where I'm looking at, and just kind of get it, right in my head. But it's something that it makes work harder for me, but it's important, I think, to realize that even though I have this diagnosis, that it doesn't matter. It's not going to stop me, and I remember one day I was picked as one of the students to give a talk about 6th-year students coming in that had interest in coming into nursing. And I remember I spoke, and I had said that was the area that that was my background. And the amount of girls in this one class, there was about 30 students, and nearly 25 of them, I'd say, stayed back afterwards to talk to me. So that would just go to show the amount of people who want to go for college but kind of think, I can't, I'm not able. Just goes to show that you can. If you put your mind to something, you can. And I'm living proof of that, I think.